Morning. It's a new week, but it's pretty much close to the end of the month. We've got a few days left. So this is going to be kind of a transition week, moving from November into December. So that means this is going to be kind of a busy week. Today we're just going to do some offhanded stuff. We'll be concentrating so much on CBDC things and whatnot that I think we could use a break from that. It's not that you can't use what we're going to work on today for that particular project, but we're not exclusively focusing on that. I'm not restricting limits or anything like that. But tomorrow we do have the CBDC showcase. So you've got today, this evening, to message me in some way if you have a project that you would like to submit for the showcase for tomorrow. We've got quite a few on the list, and I'm excited about showing them to you guys. For those that haven't been already sneak peeking at each other's builds. I've got some really interesting, a lot of variety as well, which is always great. It's nice to see again how you can take a similar kind of idea and rework it different ways. People will approach it. Some are focused on super detail, and others, it's not that they're making it too basic. It's just, keeping things simple, especially when it comes to keeping these projects within the limits that we gave. Simplicity is very helpful. I think it forced some of us to rethink how we approached some of our projects. We're so used to just kind of being free to use however many items we wanted. Forcing this limit on there has been quite a test of our skills, I think. And I'm so impressed with how this has been going. I would not doubt we revisit this type of challenge in the future. Maybe not this exact theme, but some form of limitations or restrictions like the decor count. I anticipate we'll be using that again in some way. Not anytime soon. I think you guys deserve a bit of a rest on that part, but it should be interesting. So tomorrow is the showcase. Then we'll be moving on to house tours on Wednesday. I have a increasingly long list of houses I have set up for Wednesday's tour. Partly that is because there's several folks that have kind of made me aware that their places are done, and while I do have a long list of places that have been sitting on the queue list for a while, what I normally do is I take a handful of those and a handful of new ones that I come across, and kind of mix and match. I'm also, when I do the tours, I'm often looking at like the themes. I don't prefer to do like all spaceports or all bars and things like that. I tend to kind of mix and match the different themes, so you get a variety of styles and everything in one tour session. So, but on top of the new ones coming out and us wanting to visit some of the older ones that have been on my list for a while, we do have December coming up, which I'm planning to focus most of our house tours, if not all of them, completely to winter plots. And then, of course, in January, we're going to be starting integrating NA tours amongst our schedule. So that means that anyone that tells me that their house is ready now could be potentially waiting a long time before I get to them. So I'm trying to get as many in there for this week as I can, because I know not most of these, well, all of these won't be winter related. So at least if I don't get them today, they're going to have to wait until at least bare minimum next year before I get to them, because like I said, December is going to be all about winter stuff. So I'm doing my best weeding through the queued list. I don't know if I mentioned the amount that I had on my list last week, but I think it was roughly about 170 plus homes on my list, and that's from both factions on Jabit. Um, I spent the last couple of days going through the entire list, one by one, physically trying to visit them. Those that I was unable to access, either because I got the error that that player didn't exist or it was marked as private, I have removed all of those. There were a few duplicates. I try to check to make sure that I'm not duplicating the names, but a few have snuck in or had snuck in. There were a few that I've actually toured since they were added to the list, and probably due to them being a duplicate, I didn't completely remove them from the list, so that has been cleared up. Um, and I've broken them down into, uh, well, currently they're in 4 groups. I've got the ones that I want to visit Wednesday. I've got a separate list for those that are winter related. As I went through them, if they had a winter theme, I marked them into a special group. Those are the ones we'll tackle through the month of December. And then I have a ready for touring. It's what I consider the plot is basically finished. Now, there may be details that the builder is actually adding even as we speak, but in my eyes, it's basically done. There aren't any significant areas that look empty or whatever. And then we have the works in progress list. So you can see I've already kind of complicated my list by breaking it up into different sections, but it's hopefully going to help me manage it a little bit better than I have been. Usually I just add a name and it's just a long, confusing list of names, and I've even started noting for my own use as to what theme they are so I can better kind of judge, okay, we have already a couple of spaceports for this week. We don't need another one. I'll find something else that's a little different. But all that said, I have managed to whittle down the list to, I think it's around 80 plus homes now, or plots. So it's still rather long, and I would say roughly half of that are in the works in progress category. But that still means 40-something houses that are on my list to be toured, and I'm going to get to you eventually. And of course, as I say that, every day, or at least every week, confidently every week, we add new names to the list. And like I said, what I do is I'll take a few that have just finished building and I'll include them in my current tours, but I'll also grab some of those that have been on there for a while. It's not that I am trying to delay the viewing of some of those that have been on the list for a while, but again, I mix and match because we have an enormous amount of bars, enormous amount of spaceports, and when I come across a unique or not so often seen theme, I prefer to go for those over something that we've seen before. It's not that it's a diss at the builder, it's just, again, I'm going for variety. So I will get to your homes if I haven't gotten to them yet, and you know that they're on the list. I promise I will get to them. It's just going to take some little extra time. And of course, like I said, December is going to be focused on winter plots. And then, of course, we've got the introduction of the NA plots for next year's. We're going to be kicking that off. So it's going to slow things down slightly, I think, but we'll do our best to get through them all. I don't want to, really rush through them because, again, while there are a lot of builders that are regularly adding new plots, some of us take months to do that. And if I zip through them all too fast, then we can just basically kind of run out of materials. So I don't want to do that. So I think the pace that we're going is a comfortable pace. We're getting at least 2 to 5 plots every week, so depending on how custom and detailed they are. So I think that's a good pace. So I hope you guys aren't too disappointed in how long it might take to get to yours, but um, uh, we will get to them eventually. And then, of course, Thursday will be our introduction to the new CBDC theme for December. I'm really excited about this one. I hope a lot of you will take up the challenge to create it. I've got a special thing tied with it, which I think will encourage you to participate. And the more the merrier, of course. But we'll get to that Thursday. I'll be doing a whole big post explaining all of the details of what is all involved. And of course, we'll be starting off with our own example of what we're looking for during the stream on Thursday. In addition to the CBDC for December, we are going to be doing the Advent thing that I promised I would be working on. So that'll be in addition to that. So I probably won't be focusing as much on the CBDC as I have, like for instance this month. We've been doing that practically every day. I'm going to be focusing mostly on the Advent from my end. But I will show some examples and work on at least one or two things for the CBDC, because again, I don't like to give a challenge that I'm not willing to do myself. And like I said, we'll be focusing on winter plots for the tours. I've already got probably about, I think we're getting close to like 20 plots so far. But if you know of any that you aren't sure if I have on the list and you want to let me know about it, or if you're planning to build one yourself, be sure and let me know so that I can add that to my list. I will be focusing on the ones that I consider complete. And if it happens that you either can't finish it, or if the person that's got it going hasn't finished, we'll wrap those up at the end, I guess. And of course, if Carbine comes up with a competition for winter housing, I will of course focus on showing some of the winter ones, probably first part of January, depending on when they judge those plots, if they have that competition. I'm not saying they are having one. I haven't heard anything official or anything, but in the event that they do, we'll do just like we did last month with the Shades Eve winners. We'll do an extra little tour to get them some extra attention. Okay, other than that, I think it's business as usual. Again, we missed this past Friday. I had a doctor's appointment, so I appreciate you guys understanding on that. It was just a checkup, nothing serious, so nothing to be concerned about. I completely forgot about Mr. Elephant there. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I don't know if you guys noticed the title. Good morning, Poi, and thank you for the host, Gamer and Bones. And good morning to anyone else that happens to be lurking around. It's not that I'm ignoring you guys. I just keep yapping. You know how I am. We're going to be trying something a little different today. Like I said, you could use it for some kind of a CBDC project for this month if you wanted, but that's really not the focus of this little bit that we're going to be working on. I just wanted to do something different, and with the roundimals that we worked on last week, I think it was, it just kind of seems like a natural progression. So I'm calling this the Chibi time. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I call it Chibi. Maybe it's Chibi for all I know, but Chibi sounds cuter. If you don't know what a Chibi is, according to Wikipedia, it's a Japanese slang word meaning short person or small person, and you probably have seen these little bits where usually the head is like oversized. If you've ever played like World of Warcraft, you know how the gnomes are. They're like malproportioned as far as the head to the body. That's kind of what the chibis are like. They're like extreme small versions of a big person or a big animal or something. So it's like a cutesy kind of thing. Um, and I'm a big fan of Asian style characters and artwork and things. So this is what I come up with. It's my version of a Japanese, I guess it'd be like a geisha girl chibi. It's not really small in comparison to my character, but I'm hoping that the proportions of it kind of work all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with different styles, different types. We're going to play around with different hairdos, um, uh, little hair accessories, and different materials for their little kimonos and things. Probably other accessories, like maybe you want to have a little fan with yours, or what are the parasol kind of things. But this is the one I did last night before I went to bed. Kind of quickly put it together. So we're going to talk about what pieces I've used for this, and then we're going to just play around with different bits. Like I said, this might be something you don't want to add to your collection of ideas and such. Maybe you don't have a Japanese or Oriental type theme, but ideas for like using the tires for hair, which we've done in the past, that might help you out in a different project. Maybe you've been looking for something for hair or something for clothing. Something for facial features that you hadn't thought about. And I think this might be a good opportunity for you to brainstorm on that kind of stuff. And that's what we'll be doing today. So first of all, her hair, as I said, is tires. I've got them in two different ways. One is where it's semi-flat and then just tilted just a bit. So it's oversized quite a bit, and I just pushed it in so just the edge is showing. That gives the nice little round, kind of curvy bits for that. Then for the bangs, which are kind of like straight, I also wanted to leave gaps. I actually wanted to leave more gaps than this, but because of the width of the tire, it doesn't really lend itself that well to what I was wanting, unless I shrunk it down even further and just added more pieces. But again, you don't want to go too far. You could, I'm not saying you can't, but I didn't want to use like hundreds of tires just for one head of hair. So this one is where it's turned more straight, flat, and just a particular size, and just 3 of them across. So this little area here, I had to put an extra tire in to kind of mask where the 3 little tires meet the big one. If you push it off, you can see there was a bit of a gap. And of course, I wanted her bangs to come down to a certain area of her forehead. If I lifted them up to meet, to cover this gap, it looked like too much face. For the face itself, that's the same thing that we use for the white roundimals over here. It's the red rocket firework piece. Now, I often remind that the way you get access to those was through the Starfall event, which was a new event that we got this year. You had to, I think it was like obtain a number of things, like the pet and a lot of the extra fireworks and all this other stuff. And once you obtained all that, you got an achievement, and with that achievement came unlocking these firework decor in your housing vendor. Now, I do know for a fact, if you didn't unlock that for yourself, but invite someone that has and make them your roommate, they can purchase those items for you. It will automatically deposit that into your crate if they purchase them off your vendor, while they're on your plot. That way you can get access to it. So it's not like you're completely out of luck, but you do have to trust whoever you're bringing in to give them roommate rights. So pick someone that you're confident won't mess up your plot, and just kind of, ask them nicely to purchase whatever you're looking for. I believe it's the same with some of the daily login rewards, like the unlocks for the welders and stuff. I think as long as you have it unlocked on a character, you can go to someone else's plot, and even if they don't, as long as you're a roommate, you can purchase it for them. I did that with, I think it was the cargo, um, uh, what's it called? The cargo lifter, I think. Someone hadn't gotten to that daily login reward yet, and I purchased a few of them for them, and they were able to use them on their plot. So that's a good tip if you know of someone that missed out on the Starfall event but would like to utilize some of these firework pieces in their build. You can help them out by purchasing it for them as a roommate. Okay, so the face again is 2 of the red fireworks. It's just, I use 2 because if you use just the one, the face becomes a little bit blockier. It's okay, it's not bad, but I wanted a little bit more round face to kind of match. Both works either way, so it's just up to you how you want to do it. For the little hair accessory, that's just the top of the detonator, the bandit version, the little plunger thing. It's just straight in, and that's what's being used as, I don't know, a ribbon kind of thing. For the cheeks, the rosy cheeks, that is the end of the tassel on the long purple pillow. The only one that I could find that has an actual solid bit. If you look at the, I think it's the pink pillow, I want to say those are made a little differently. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You enlarge it up, you can see that these tassels are actually hollow, so it doesn't give you the same effect if you were to try and use those. There's also another one, I think it's I think it's the other pink pillow, the one that costs renown. If we enlarge it up and turn it, yeah, this one, it's not hollow or solid, it's just two very paper thin bits. So it wouldn't, again, it wouldn't be the same. It looks fine from the side, but if you're looking for an actual solid little pink round bit for a rosy cheek, you have to go with the purple pillow one because the other two just wouldn't work for that. Because I did, in fact, try to go with the others and only just realized that they were built differently. And of course, for her kimono, I did use the pink pillows for that. It's actually both types of pink pillows. I used the flower pillow, the one that you can get for just regular cash, for the main body of her kimono. And then I used the renown version for her sleeves and the little part that marks where her kimono folds over. Now, I don't know if you want to get really persnickety about it, but I do know that there's some type of a rule where the fold, where it goes over, it's apparently always leftover right. I think the other way means something else, or like, I don't know if it's what exactly it means, but I know that it's not good to have it the one way or whatever. It's always usually the left over the right. So I tried to indicate that by using the edge of the renown version of the pillow, because that's a bit darker. The edges of it have a darker coloring, and it kind of denotes it a little better. And of course, I was trying to make these kind of like sleeves for her kimono, and using the regular flower one with the tassels dangling off as heavily as they do, it was really tough getting the right shape. So I ended up just using the renown version. Now, obviously, she doesn't have any hands or anything. You could add those if you want, but I'm pretending like her little arms are like so short. They're like up in the sleeves so you can't see them. Same way with her feet. She doesn't have any feet. I'm pretending that her skirt or the kimono itself is long enough where it covers up her shoes. The belt is also tires, just like her hair. Her eyes are the vent tanks, my favorite. And then the mouth is the same things that I'm using for her cheeks. I've just tilted it slightly so that it's just an end. It's actually two of them together to try and make her little smiley mouth. And I think that's it. It's just those little bits. So what we're going to do is we're going to try some different hairstyles. See if we can come up with some different ones. Now, again, I'm using references from Google. I just looked up Chibi dolls, Chibi paintings. You could look up probably Japanese dolls, things like that, to find some examples. There's a variety. I mean, not all of their hair are black. For instance, they really like to use the blues, yellows, purples for the hair. Not all of them are trimmed like this. Some of them have ponytails and things. So we're going to try some different ones. So let's see, let me find some that are significantly different than what we got here. Like, let's try. Like so. You do like that, and it looks like a little guy with the bald spot on top. And we're gonna reduce the size of this one. We're gonna let's see. Let's do it like this. You remember the little tire balls that we did for the hair? We're going to do something similar to that, but well, it's probably just going to be an actual tire ball because you're going to have it all. Now, if I was smart, I would have just hunted up the tire ball set piece, but we'll just do it quickly here. Again, I'm eyeballing it. You can be a little bit more precise by checking your angles and positionings and everything, but we're just kind of putting this quickly together. It's not end of the world if it's not exact. So let me find one that we'll use as the parent. I think that's all of them. Yep. Okay, and then I'll probably want to reduce that a little bit, make it a little smaller. So maybe we're going to have like two little ball bits there. Let's just put this in the random bit. Let's actually start a new directory. We'll say Chibi. And then here we'll say hairball. Sounds like something for a kitty cat. And let me, whoops. I don't know why that one looks like it has like a white line going down the middle. Oh well. We'll add link, and now we can place it and have a second one here. And let's see, she probably wants some bangs too, and I'll show you what I mean by trying to shrink it down so that you have a little bit more splits between the strands. Again, you just have to kind of use more pieces. Something like that. Not exact, but you get the idea. Crooked for some reason. And sometimes with the little buns, they actually have some kind of a decoration there. You could use this again for it. Others use like little flowers. So you could take like the yellow ones, since they're pretty cheap and easy to get a hold of. And just turn it to like maybe showing one of them, tuck that in, shrink it down to whatever size you need. And you know me, I like having separate, 3 pieces. The odd numbers I favor. And then do the same on the other side. You could just put a colored band if you want, like there's a ribbon around the bun holding it together. And that you can make any color you want, so it can match whatever color kimono you decide to give her. And it doesn't have to be a kimono, it could be something else. Maybe you want to just give her a regular little dress or something. It doesn't have to be kimono shaped. It's just I happen to pick, I mean, if you want to make her a little frilly skirt or something, that's perfectly fine. It's just the little kimonos and stuff is what I've been kind of tripping on since yesterday. So that's one hairdo. Let's see if we can find another one that we can try. You can have it where the ponytails are at the bottom if you want. So just grab another one. Again, if you know you're going to be making multiples of these, you can like save a set for just the face and the bangs and switch it over that way. This one I think we're going to leave with no bangs. Just going to, well, let's see here in a minute if I can get it sitting right. Let's take the tire ball. I'm going to add that down here. And then another one. We're going to make that one a little out like this. And then again, you could add some bows here, or just use like this. This particular piece makes a great little bow. Again, if you're using this particular, this background here is an oversized gear trophy. It's great for an alternative to making layered glass to have this nice kind of whitish background, but it is kind of hard to see the arrow controls for it. So, you know, it's the price to pay if you want to use it. It's maybe too small. But you could use this as the bow for her hair. You could use, again, just a different color. That kind of thing. Let's think of something we can use. Like, well, I got a bunch of these things. Let's see if we can use this. Oops. Let's try that again. Like 300 of those things. I think that's from the Togepi little statue thing that we made. That's a lot of pieces. Now notice I'm leaving it pretty big. I'm just pushing it in so you only see a part of it. That keeps it from, you know, yeah, you could shrink it down to where it's just exactly the size you want, but the smaller it is, the less likely it is going to show up. So it's better to just leave it big if you can, and then push it in to make it smaller. So like you see how I pushed it in further for the middle one to make it look like a smaller part of the bow. That's much preferred than to actually changing the size too much. So now she's got this little yellow bow on her hair. So we'll move this over. Try to do the same on the other side. So now you got two little bows for her hair. Now you could leave it just like this. You could add bangs if you want. You could try maybe, I don't know if this will work because of the way the shape of the face is, but you might could, makes it look like she's got horns on her head. This would be good for like a little, you know, those like terracotta warriors that got the little thingy on their head. That would work really good for a boy one. If you want to make a boy one. But like, I'm gonna have to go even smaller. It looks like the tire parts just want to show up. Like if you want to give her like curved bangs type of thing. Maybe even smaller. This is getting a little less Asian looking, I think. Looks like, oh, what's it called? Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. Grab this one here. Okay, let's see. Oops. Let's try another one. Let's see, ponytails. This one's kind of almost like the one with the bun on the top, except I've more got it rounded than an actual ball, but you could do both, I think. Just do it like, probably more like this with the edges. And just do that all the way around. And instead of having the two, just have the one big one on top. Oops. You just select the whole little set. Wow, got it all stuck in there. Now let's try this again. I'll copy one of the bigger ones. All right, boy. And maybe make that slightly bigger. And then tuck it behind. Even push it in, kind of gives it the shape a little different. And then this one could be one of those that has like the little sticks in it if you want. I would probably use like pillars for that, or maybe like the spears, something really that you can get narrow. So like well, probably just go with the Cassian ones. I don't know if it's supposed to, it's probably like you could, like it's representing like chopsticks or something that's sticking in her hair. I have no idea. I just know that sometimes you'll see these little stick things in there. And then sometimes there's like a little flower or other little ornament. Oh, let's change that. Oh, object. Probably not ideal, but you get the idea. The ones with the buns. um, there's also, you could, again, you could try different colors. I'm using all black here, but I'm sure you could come up with some other ones. I just think it's easier because I know the tires are pretty malleable as far as different shapes and things for like the bangs and the buns and the sides of the hair. When it comes to, like, say you wanted pink hair, we're pretty limited on the pink items that you might could use, so you might have more trouble with that. But maybe you can be clever and find a way to use the pillows even with the tassels. Maybe the tassels become parts of the hair itself. I don't know. But there's also the one that looks like this, where it's more of a, oh, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know hairdo names, so that's part of the problem. Maybe 5 would be better. Like I said, I'm kind of quickly putting this in, so you might prefer a little bit more control as far as the angles and stuff. I'm just kind of quickly throwing these in. Oops, don't want that one there. But it's kind of like a full head, but maybe you want more of this showing. You don't want the whole face being covered up, so you would just keep pushing it in to widen that up a little bit. And that just gives it a different style of cut there. Again, you may find you got to use several pieces just to make the same hairdo. Use the treads kind of like your the lines of the hair. That helps some. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really want to turn the tires this way, but it kind of helps because the lines of the tires are kind of like the direction the bangs would be going, as opposed to this one where they're going across. That looks a little weird to me, but it really just depends on the shape that you're going for. Trying to think what else you might could use for hair shapes. There's also the one where it's a little bit more kind of a little bit here, like a split. Let me see if I can do that. Let's try this. See if I can show you what I'm talking about. It's a little bulkier than I'd like. Something like that. It's not exactly what I was wanting, but let me try it this way. Excuse me. Let me grab a cough drop. And a drink. Maybe if I just make this bigger. Getting there, sort of. Looks more like an old granny type of hair. But there's like a split here and it kind of goes out to the side before it comes around. The buns too don't have to be on the top of the head. They could be on the side. Like so. Just like a wall of heads here. Another style. Again, it's using similar bits, but just arranged differently. And again, we can leave it with just the hair, the ball itself, or You can add some extra ornament like the ribbon that's holding the bun together, that kind of thing. It's like Princess Leia hair there. Okay, so let's duplicate this off. So for the outfits, you could be super simplified and keep it like a ball shape rather than like what I've done here. You could just have like a ball for the head and then a ball for the body. So for example, let's make this a set here. And we'll try our hand at another outfit type of thing. Oh, missing the top of her hair. And the flowers. Gotta have the flowers. Yes, I know, it's kind of slow about me. I'm still missing some bits. Let's see, this flower, I think. Now the other part I'm not sure about. It looks like I don't even need that, so I'm just going to, let's two bun, we'll call her two bun top. Oops, new. There we go. Now the only weird thing is this item here I don't think is perfectly flat, so it may change the look of it as I move it over. Said that, it doesn't seem to have affected it at all, so that's good. We'll just leave it be. Okay, so for like I said, you could do the bit where you have a little bit longer body, but you could just leave it just around if you want, or egg shape, oval kind of thing. So let's, I'm just going to go with the pillows because they seem to be the more colorful, easy to get a hold of stuff. The fireworks, you have those too. They have some nice, pretty designs, but let's go with something that, let's try this, I guess. Excuse me. So you could, as I said, just give her a little round body. And call it good if you want. But I think for me, I would like to give it something a little bit more, so we're gonna now, when I did this particular outfit, I experimented a lot with how different it looked when it was turned sideways or this way or that. And that's kind of just how you have to do. You just have to kind of experiment with the patterns that's on the item. Maybe you've got the right pattern, but when you push it in or out to get it to overlap, because this is kind of a fat piece, this pillow here. So maybe like see how it covers up her face. Then if I push it down, maybe it doesn't layer just exactly like I want. Maybe it's still too wide. So then if I shrink it down even more, how does that change it? And you just play around with it. That's the big thing. See how that changes the look? This is like the back side. It's still similar but different enough where it throws itself in relief against the other part. That's not always how it works. Like I said, with this one, because I wanted a little different color, I ended up having using a different pillow for that part. Looking like a papoose kind of thing. Maybe these are too big. It's hard to get the right shape. Because really you want the sleeves to be kind of, it's like almost a fan shape. And the round doesn't really lend itself well to that. So I don't know, it's not quite right, but maybe if I just use the edges. Let's try that. Oops. Something kind of like that. It's not exact, but you can see how it just takes a lot of time to try and come up with the color scheme you want, and using those the designs on the item that you pick. Try to work them to your advantage if you can. It's not always possible, especially with some of these pillows with the tassels that stick out and everything, but kinda, sorta better, but not quite. Because again, I don't have her arms sticking out, so you don't see those. And of course, if you're wanting to do something for like the belt, um, you could go with a different color that'll help match it, you know, stand out against it quite a bit. Or you can try and use another piece of the same one to kind of look a little different. Again, it's not going to be easy. I think it'd be better just to use a different color, a different item, I mean. It just doesn't stand out very well. So I would use maybe, try and get away with the cheap one rather than the other one. Again, got those tassels to worry about, so maybe try and do your best to hide them if you can, but if you can't, then see if you can work that into the design itself. It's just not a very cooperative piece. That's all I gotta say. Something like that. The tassel is just frustrating. Now, if you're wanting to do like some other accessories like the parasol or a fan, I would say you almost would want to, like, especially the parasol, you might want to build it like three-dimensional, like it's a full parasol, and then just use half of it. It might be easier to do it that way, but like, say if you want to do a fan, I would say pillars are probably easiest, again, to mess with. And just start with the center one and then just kind of go out from there. You could maybe find something that will work for the half moon shape, like so. Try and make it as flat as you can, but still keep the half moon shape. And then use these to kind of be the go-between. You'll have to bring it a little forward so that it's showing up there, but kind of like that. Again, I'm just doing this really quick and dirty, but you can like calculate the angles and stuff if you want a little better. Maybe make this bigger so it's where the ends are a little bit more to the edge there. If you want to get it nice and rounded, you again just repeat it like you do with the faces. You'll probably have to make some adjustment to it though because of how it's set up. You'd have to tilt it differently to get it to work like you want, but I think it's just simpler to leave it like that. And then the trick would be to position it in a way where it looks, you know, you wouldn't be able to like layer it on top of her very easily because again, you'd have this whole thing sticking out, the white part, but maybe, let's see. Oops. Let me just reload that because I think I messed it up by clicking something I shouldn't have. It's a really crappy looking fan, but again, it's just an example. You would get more accurate with yours if you're actually going to do it. Let's see. Once you have it, then you can, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. You can size it however you need, but again, if you were to put it in front of her like she was holding it, that might be problematic because this bottom isn't going to hide as well as it does on a flat surface with all these bumps and things that her clothing is. You might could fake it in by layering up some things that you, or just really pushing it in there. But again, it gets tricky. And of course, from the side, it looks really, really bulky. But from the front, it would be sort of okay. But probably the best is to pretend like maybe she's got it in one of her hands and do it that way. For a parasol kind of thing, I would say, see if I can see an example of one. I think they usually have it kind of behind their head. Some have it to the side, I guess, but I think behind the head is usually. I would just do the same thing, almost kind of like the fan, if you just turned it a different way. Like, oh, come on and click, you silly thing. Doesn't want to open up the Chibi one for some reason. Doesn't even want to select it. Let me try it again. Oops. Totally having my screens go crazy because I'm off there. I may have to start a different one because It's not acting like it even recognizes that Chibi is there. So let's just put this in, we'll say fan and para. Whoops. Now I'm taking the fan, I'm just kind of using the same concept, but making it bigger. And then you would probably want to do the whole thing, just make it all the way around, or just leave it the half, I guess, pretend like it's behind her or something. But I would say just go ahead and make the whole round. It'd be like she's holding it and you're looking at it from the bottom, like straight up from the bottom. Now, if you want to tilt it where you look like you're seeing like the top and like kind of like from the side, that's okay too, but I think it'd be easier to make it look like she's holding it and you're seeing like a worm's eye view of the interior of the parasol. That makes sense. Let's see. Something like that. You would make it all white. If I can get that thing to show up right. Don't want it blocking her hair. But I think you get the idea. You'd have to push it behind her head because you don't want her umbrella sticking in her hair. Let me just move this. We'll just start from scratch on this thing. So like I would take the face one and push it in as far as I could. So it's not interfering terribly with her hair. If I have to, I'll like and then just do the lines from there. Excuse me. Ensuring that the spokes or whatever they're called don't poke into her brain there. Actually, let's leave that at 13. Again, I'm just kind of really quickly it's not even like centered right. How weird is that? But again, it's mostly just to give you the idea. You would better put this in. Again, you'd want to push it so that the spokes are behind her hair. That becomes especially important. It kind of blends in because the casting filler is almost the same color as the tire. But if it's a different color, you want to make sure that you make sure it's behind it so it looks like the umbrella is behind her head rather than in front of it. Otherwise, it kind of messes up the illusion that you're looking at the underside. Now it seems silly that you have to go all the way around, but notice how this has that gap. I'm just kind of filling it in a little bit to make it look like there's additional spokes. And then for those that are like poking in her face there, you just tilt them a little bit, and that takes care of that. It's just a little bit extra stuffs. And now she's got her little umbrella behind her. It's not ideal, but I think you get the idea. Maybe even have a little, an extra one coming up, bigger size, I guess. Where she's holding it. And that could come across her face if you want, maybe. Like so. Let's see, what other pieces would be good for probably the designs for different kimonos and dresses and things. Anything colorful, like the pillows, but there's some Oran decor that would probably work really well. Let's see, let's look on the shopper here. If you want a really quick kind of a dress thing, I would say the vases would probably work really all right. Let's see. Let's grab the what I call her, the Dorothy one. Like so many pieces just for a head of hair. Gotta get all of her bow. Let's see, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this one all in one piece. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think that's all of it. Oh, missing the bottom of the bow. So let's make a set for her. Oh, now it opens up. Weird. Let's do this, the Dorothy one. It was like 30 pieces for her head. Okay, so like the vases would probably be a very quick. They're not as don't want to say colorful because they are kind of colorful, but like this one here, not that one, but like this one here, it's kind of a little bit plainer. I don't know why this part here sticks out. Like whoever put this together forgot that the root is sideways. Looking for a different, here we go. Maybe there was another one that had that same look. So like I've used this one as a dress for a doll before, for last Winterfest. It kind of lends itself, I think it's mostly because of the shape of it. It looks like a little bit of a skirt to me. But notice the bigger you make it, the tougher it is to hide the grass. That's a problem. But you can kind of fake it in. You just have to find the right size for it. You could also use this one here. Again, you'd have to find, maybe turn it so the pattern looks a certain way. In fact, this might work for a good topper, actually. Looks like a papoose, like a little baby thing. Notice none of these have necks. You could add one in if you really want to, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. See how I turned it and moved it a little bit and changed the way it looks like it's split. You do it a number of ways. This is a little less colorful because it's the tan colors, but it's an option. Let's see, some of the other the dressers and stuff, not so much. I think you might get away with the orange tint as some kind of clothing because of the way it looks. That includes like the drapes. The drapes are also a nice option, especially if you're not aiming for specifically kimono looks. I think those would be good for. We've seen them use. I've used them for skirts and things and stuff before, so that would probably work nicely. This part, maybe the little, I don't know what you call them, the tarp covers or something might work. Trying to think what else would be good and colorful. Maybe some of the plushies would work. They're a little bit tougher to get a hold of in some respects, depending on which one you pick. And you'd probably have to use quite a few because with the plushies, maybe you just want this part here. So you'd have to, use many of them to maybe make like a pink, purplish, like a flower skirt kind of thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like having multiples of these all the way around. You'd have to use multiples of these little plushies to get that to work because you'd have to turn it a certain way so that the tail and eyes and everything aren't showing, that kind of thing. Same way with like if you just want the petals for a skirt type of thing, or maybe for the lace on the sleeves or around the edge, the bottom of the skirt. Again, you would have to use multiples of these just to get that little bit to show. It's kind of the reason I tend to not use these too much, except for the easier to obtain, like the WildStar one. That's fairly easy to come by. Same way with the plushy carrot. It's the Galeris reputation, so you get that pretty early on. Things like the Protostar one and all of that, it's a little tougher because you do have to get up into a higher zone, but that's another option. Again, anything colorful would be good. Most of your statues and sculptures I probably wouldn't go with because most of them are these drabby grayish green brown colors. Some of the not Orin, taurine stuff is nice, but again, it has its own problems because it's animated, it moves, so that might not be ideal for whatever you're doing. But uh, some of these gold bits, again, not so easy to get a hold of, but it's options. The Dominion stuff, weirdly enough, is pretty colorful. And Eldon, if you want to go with the green stuff. But a lot of that could be used for different kinds of uh, accents and colors that you're looking for. Like this, if you just tilted it so that just this part showed, that would be a nice skirt design, in my opinion. Some of the bottles and bowls that we have might work for different types of decoration. That's some of it's colorful. It's a lot of oranges and things, if you don't mind that. Banners and flags, typically those aren't very helpful when it comes to like clothing and stuff because you have the sticks and things to have to contend with. A lot of them are animated. About the only one that might lend itself really nicely to some kind of a outfit design is probably the Merg banner because the little stick is pretty short and it's up at the top. So you could tilt it out so that all you see is the bottom, but it looks kind of, maybe if you're doing like a raggedy looking outfit, that might be okay. But again, most of these are animated, so it's kind of tough to make it like work for a painting type of thing. The banners, though, the streamers, those are really good. They make nice skirts type of things, I think, would be good. Like the red one especially. Blue too, and maybe you can make it of both. Um, Posters, the travel posters wouldn't work because they have that the frame around it, and same goes for a lot of the wall decorations, but some of your accents could possibly work, like the feathers from the helmet. This would make a good little tutu kind of thing. Or again, some kind of uh, sleeves and the bottom of the skirt frilly bits. I know we've got a lot of tarps and awnings and things. A lot of people try to use those. Usually they're problematic because of the sticks that come with them. Same way with the hanging clothes, the laundry lines. Those are problematic because they're animated. I think it's gonna want to crash on me soon. Blah, 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 blah. Trying to think what else. Some more colorful stuff is a lot of the Winterfest stuff. Especially if you're looking for Winterfesty type things, but it's pretty colorful in a lot of its makeup. It's a lot of reds and whites, but there's also greens and blues in that. The firework decor, of course, if you can get a hold of that, either by having unlocked it yourself or getting a hold of someone that's got it unlocked, that might be a good option as well. Here's another taurine piece that's got those nice feathers. You see how you got the pretty ribbons, lots of different colors here. And of course, if you're looking for specific colors, like if you want to do a purple outfit, a lot of the strain items would probably work nicely for that. It just depends on how you're wanting to put it together. And if, say, you have an outfit that's not really got any kind of pattern to it, but maybe you want to make some kind of a flower pattern, adding some still flowers like these onto a clothing piece works just as well. You could just add, say, you put the flowers on her dress for her. It will take more pieces, and you'll have to think about, turning it to make it follow the shape of the dress, that kind of thing. But that's an option if you can't find anything that has a floral pattern that you want, that kind of thing. It's just more planning as far as, trying to follow the folds of the cloth and that kind of stuff. We saw that in this dresses and stuff I did in the past as little sketches. But I hope this gave you some ideas for, even if you don't do a chibi style thing, if you're looking for hair pieces and something that's very versatile and as far as different styles, you can see that the tires really work quite nicely. Get all sorts of different shapes and combinations. And you can accent them in a lot of different ways to get different, like maybe you didn't have a yellow dress that you want, but you come up with a green one. Well, then you could just use maybe the green pillows for the bows instead of the yellow fireworks. So it's really easy to interchange it out to make it as uh, uh, not personalized, but matchy-matchy as you want. So like say if you decide to make a set of chibis and someone says, well, can you make me one that's got, green stuff instead? You could probably do that. Now, you'll notice from the little animal bits that we did here how I've patched together certain things using just the similar, like the circles. You could do the same thing with the dress if you don't want to use like 3 or 4 big pieces. You could go through and design yourself something that's more like a pixelated version of a dress using just the same piece but just lots of little ones. You could do that. You saw how we did the Pikachu way back when, where basically his body was just a bunch of dots. You could do it that way if you're really struggling with finding a piece that maybe works, that you can manipulate really well. It just, just understand that it's going to be more pieces. That's why I was trying my best to try and use big chunks of a particular item to kind of get most of it out than using lots of little pieces. And yes, the tires do make awesome hair. Not just in paintings either. We've seen, like with the Frankenstein's Bride, that it's usable even as a three-dimensional hairdo kind of thing. Both Frankenstein and the Bride had hair like that. And I want to say I've used it in a few other places, but nothing off the top of my head comes to mind. But again, just remember that, again, at the distance, the smaller the tire, the less likely it will be visible at a distance. You have to be up close. That's why I like using them mostly for the paintings, because typically it's not like I'm going to be viewing a painting from way over here. I'm going to be typically a lot closer, so it shows up nicely. But you can see how many of the details is kind of chunk away, and it just looks kind of weird. Like virtually gone for most of it. But again, you're not going to be looking at it from that distance. So, but like if you tried to make little people rather than using NPCs because they're limited on how many specials you can have to your plot, it becomes problematic because typically you might be looking way across the city at this little NPC like this horse here, and you don't really see all of it until you get a lot closer. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun with this. I think it was a nice break from the CBDC stuff. It's just something different, some tossing out some ideas. Maybe you'll use them, maybe you won't. Maybe you use something similar. Maybe you use the tires for something but not exactly hair. But this gives you an idea for it anyway. As long as it helps inspire, I'm more than happy to continue sharing these little ideas here and there. I think myself, I will continue to making some different little chibi stuffs. Um, I think it's just too cute not to not to do some here now and then. Maybe we'll make some Winterfest themed or something. I don't know. I say that and I'll get distracted with some other project and I'll move on to something else. But anyway, so yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you had fun. I certainly did, playing around with different ideas. Of course, tomorrow is the CBDC showcase, so if you don't join for anything else this week, try to join for that and for Wednesday's house tours, because we got some really nice ones to show you. So yeah, if you've got a project for the CBDC and you're not sure if I've got you listed, if you haven't heard me mention it before, be sure and get me a message out today so that I can make sure that it's on the list for tomorrow's showcase, because we will be going through those tomorrow morning. We'll probably be starting on NA side because we have one participant there, and then we'll move over to Jabbit. I don't think we have any specifically on Dominion side. Let me look. I think they're all on Exiles this time. Not that it really matters because I can visit both ways, but yeah, I think all of the EU ones are on Exiles. But again, it doesn't really matter because we're open to be able to visit either side, so that's okay. But just in a quick look, we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, like probably almost 30 pieces to look at. It's just enormous. So prepare yourselves for that, and hope you can join. If not, we will be archiving the video as we do with all of our shows, so that you can watch at your leisure later on at your convenience. Again, Wednesday will be house tours, and Thursday will be the announcement of December's theme. I encourage you to at least check out the forum thread that I'll be posting in conjunction with the stream on Thursday to find out all of the goody details, because I promise if you haven't participated in a CBDC yet, this is the one you want to partake in. I'm not going to tell you why just yet, but I promise it'll be worth it. So yeah, in the meantime, I hope you guys have fun. Good luck with your projects, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.